Hey guys, it's Jake here with eTrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at, and I'm going to show you how to install the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit for flat towing your 2022 Ford Expedition. The 5 main flat towing components in order to get your Expedition down the road behind your RV is going to be your base plate, your tow bar, a supplemental braking system, your safety cables, and your diode wiring. Adding diode wiring to your Expedition is going to allow you to safely transfer the lighting signals from the back of your coach to the back of your Expedition. You can think of it a lot like towing a trailer. You still need to be able to give others notification of what your intentions are if you've got something on that trailer blocking the lights on your RV. You can obviously see pulling an Expedition, even behind this big motorhome, you're still going to be blocking the taillights, so you have to be able to safely get those back here. There's a couple options out there on the market if you're wanting to do essentially the same thing, but you don't want to do diodes. They are bulb and socket, which requires you to drill a hole in the back of the taillight, and I do not like doing that because these factory lights are very expensive. If you get water intrusion in there, that is not good. The other option is going to be magnetic lights, which would not work very well for our Expedition since it is the aluminum model, so it has an all aluminum body. So you're not going to be able to stick those lights anywhere. And you have to run that wire up to the front of your vehicle every single time you go to flat tow. That's why I really like the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit. It'll tie into your factory wires on the back of your lights. It'll have 2 different inputs. You have one for your motorhome input and one for your vehicle input for the factory wire to go back through there. So all you have to do is unplug the front of your vehicle and then drive your vehicle like normal. There's no lights to run, there's nothing to connect up except for that 6-pole at the front. When looking into a diode wiring kit, it's really going to depend on what you already have or what you may be getting. If you decide to go with the Roadmaster Nighthawk tow bar, it's a great tow bar. It's probably my favorite that we have on our website. It's going to come with its own pigtail pre-run in this channel down here, and it will come with the 6-pole plug. So all we had to do was pick up the diode kit that has the 4-pole wire to run from the front of the vehicle to the back, and then the 4 diodes. That's it. I do recommend this pairing. It's a great pairing. If you already have your tow bar that you want to reuse, I would recommend picking up the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit that comes with a pigtail and a 6-pole plug with the 4-pole and the diodes. Now, as far as the installation goes, this install is really not too bad. I'd say probably the hardest part about it is going to be getting your 4-pole wire from the front of your vehicle to the back. We did found a pretty easy way to do that, so with that being said, let's go ahead and show you how to do that. If you do not feel comfortable doing this installation yourself, feel free to use our dealer locator on our website. You can find a dealer closest to you that can do this installation for you. To begin our installation, we're going to need to get a 4-pole wire from the front of our vehicle to the back. I already ran that wire. It's not too difficult. I popped into the frame up under here and then ran it back till I got behind the front axle so that I stayed away from all the hot and moving components. And then what I did was I ran it back to the back of the vehicle, zip tying it off to other components to the outside. This is the hole I came out on the frame, and as you can see, I've got it wrapped in wire loom. This is just to protect it from the elements. We've got this on our website. I highly recommend picking up a bunch of it to do this installation. We just ran it all the way back, just again zip tie to anything that's not hot or moving. Ran it up and over our frame here to where you can see a little bit more of it right here, zip tied off to factory wiring, and then ran it up over top of our frame. And now we've got it pulled down right here, ready to pull the yellow and brown wire up into the driver's side taillight assembly. Now up at our taillight housing, we're going to need to access the back here. So we just take a trim panel tool, we're prying back behind this panel here. A lot of times these will come out pretty easy, but this one's giving us a little bit of trouble. There we go. Pry that out, set it off to the side, and then all of this is all attached to the light. So we'll just take a 10mm socket and remove this nut and the nut up here. A lot of times when pulling these lights out, what'll help is if you put a trim panel tool here on the end and just use it as a handle to pull towards you. There we go. And you just want to pop this light out. You will need to pull it straight backwards. And this little pin here and this little pin here will be in these 2 holes on the vehicle. That's what's holding it in place. Then we can just take our plug here, unplug it from our light, and then disconnect the wiring down here. We're just going to take this factory tape off here and get our wires exposed so we can test them out for the functions. I've got our running lights on. We're going to test here in this pin. We're in the center top pin here, which would be our blue wire. We can hear that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the running lights off and hit the brakes and find out which one is that. We just tested for our brake signal, and that is going to be the light gray with the orange stripe on our driver's side. Now that we've identified those wires, I'm going to take our two wires from down below, our brown and our yellow, and I'm going to try to fish it up into this opening here so that we can get them connected. Once you get this pulled up here, all I like to do is just take it, measure it out the same length that your factory wire is, and cut it off there. Cut that off. We're going to split these two wires off. Be sure to not let this fall back down in there. I might actually just tape this off to this wiring harness so that it doesn't do that. Then you want to take some wire strippers, cut both of these wires that we found out the functions for earlier. We'll strip back the ends of them. We'll start getting our spade terminals connected up. For each end of these wires, you want to take a blue spade terminal that comes in your kit and crimp it on. With these spade terminals, because they come pre-installed on your diodes, the teeth in there are pretty spread out. What you want to do is just take your pliers and just crimp down on these teeth a little bit so that they bite into the diode a little bit better. Your yellow wire is going to get a blue spade terminal, and your brown wire is going to get the one yellow spade terminal that comes in your kit, because we have to attach a second brown wire in to run over to the passenger side of the vehicle. To get these connected to your diodes, I'd say just pick a signal that you want to tackle first. So we'll do the running light, which is your blue wire. You want to, on the plug side, you want to go, that side goes into the out, and then your in, you're going to have your in from your vehicle. So if you're driving your vehicle like normal, it'll get the normal signal. And then you're in from your motorhome, which would be this brown wire. That's how it decides what signal to send to the taillight. We'll do that same thing with our stop and turn signal. Now we're going to leave our diodes just like this. I'll take our brown wire, feed it back down, and then we're going to route the brown and green wire over to the passenger side. Over on our passenger side, that blue wire is still going to be the running light signal. It's in the same pin location, and then the same with the stop and turn signal, except on this side it's going to be a green with an orange stripe, but it's also in the same pin location. So we'll get these wires cut, stripped back, and attached to our diodes the same way we did on the driver's side. Once you get your wiring all completed on the passenger side, we're just going to take our diodes. I like to stick them together, and then we're going to test out our wiring before we get any of this buttoned up. But eventually, once we know our wiring's working properly, I'm going to take some electrical tape and wrap all this up. You'll take your taillights, you want to throw those back on just temporarily, because we will have to wrap that stuff up behind the taillight. But throw those on so that we can properly test our lighting functions. We'll start with our taillights, our left turn, our brake lights, and our right turn. Now that we know our taillight functions are working properly, we just need to find a good place to mount this up. Once you've decided your final mounting place for your 6-pole, we just mounted it on the bottom of this here. It's more than sturdy enough. This whole bumper is moving with it. What I do recommend is if you decide to put it here though, definitely when you're plugging and unplugging your harness, just hold on to this bracket. It's not a big deal to do that, but it makes it a lot easier to find a mounting place for it. So we've tested out our wiring. You do want to test it one last time before we get everything sealed up here. You want to take some black RTV silicone. You can find this on our website. And we're just going to seal up in between each of these prongs. And the reason we do this is because you've got these open connections here, and they corrode, and what they do is if you got a charge line in there, they will cross, and then your taillights will stay on all night. So Definitely put some RTV silicone in there, it helps to protect it. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the Roadmaster Diode Wiring Kit is right for you and your 2022 Ford Expedition.